everyone, it's Diane Gale here from the blog sustainableslowliving.com, and today we're going to make some yellow split pea soup. Split pea soup is fabulous on a cold winter's day, and yellow split peas are a little creamier, a little sweeter. Some people say they can't taste the difference between yellow and green. I can taste a slight difference. I prefer the yellow. I have a harder time getting my hands on them, but they do carry them at the Amish store locally here, so I pick them up whenever I stop there. This recipe, like all the recipes that I bring you, or most all, I know that eventually I will bring you some recipes that are not so quick and easy, but this recipe is quick and easy to make. It doesn't require a whole lot of your time. There's a little bit of chopping of vegetables, and that's about it. And it is a really fabulous recipe. So come on along with me and we'll put it together now. Okay, so just before I stepped away, I turned the heat down to medium so that these wouldn't burn up to a crisp. I've sauteed them just for a few minutes here. You might be able to see that they're starting to get some translucency to the onions. It's about all you need to have happen. And once that happens, you can put in 2 cloves of garlic. I'm actually using a really big clove of garlic today because I love garlic and I always put a lot in. But I imagine the average person would just want 2 regular cloves. That last one is even going to feel a little big for the garlic press. There we go. The rest of that down in there. Yummy. That one was a little big. Anyway, I'm going to put in the 2 cloves of garlic and then the seasonings. And the seasonings are a half a teaspoon of dill weed, a half a teaspoon of basil leaves, dried basil leaves, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of ground black pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground cumin. I measured all of these with a 1 teaspoon measure, and I tend to go a little heavy on the spices. So there's probably like a little more than half a teaspoon and a 1/4 teaspoon. And then the next thing we're going to put in is our yellow split peas. I hope you can see the color of those. They are fabulously yellow. They just remind me of sunshine. So that was 2 cups. I'm going to put in another cup. We may have to add more spices to this when it's done. We'll see how it tastes. Or it may be just perfect. You never know until you get there. So there we go. We've got 3 cups of yellow split peas. That looks like a great ratio, right? With those carrots and onions. I wish I had the celery for in here. I love celery, but it is going to be delicious even without it. And then here's some chicken broth that I made up. You can use veggie broth if you want to keep this recipe vegan. I like the chicken broth. I like the veggie broth too, though. That is 6 cups of chicken broth that I put in there. And now I'm going to turn this back up to high. I'm going to bring it to a boil. And then I'm going to put a lid on it. And I'm going to put it on low and let it simmer. Lentils are pretty moody, and each lentil is going to be different, a green or yellow. It takes them different amounts of time to soften up. So to give a time that I'm going to leave it on the stove is a little bit difficult, but I am going to leave it on the stove until most of the lentils are broken down. I want them to kind of mush out. Not all of them. I want a little bit of texture. You'll have the carrot, you'll have the onion, you would have the celery if you had the celery in there, and you want a little bit of texture in your lentil too. But I do want most of them to mush out. A lot of people just do the soup until it's very soft, and then they use a hand blender to make it smooth and creamy, leaving less chunk and more, adding more creaminess. Or they let it cool completely and then they put like half of the soup in a food processor and puree it and then mix it back in. And both of those are fabulous options, and I've done them in the past. I'd still do them often, but for the most part, I'm always in a hurry and I don't have that kind of time. And I like to have the carrots and the onions and a little bit of the firmer lentils in the soup because it gives it some texture. I think it's delicious that way. So that's probably how I'm going to cook it down. Well, that is how I'm going to cook it down. And I will bring you back when it's done so that we can try a little bit of it together and see how it came out. I can't wait for a bite. This is hot. Look at it though. Look at that. Yummy. Oh yeah. Okay. That's so hot. I definitely don't want to scald my tongue on video. So perfect. This is outstanding. So good. Make yourself some. It's been really great having you here. I'm so glad that you joined me. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every single time that I do a new video. And I will see you again right here. It'll be real soon.